Hey guys, and welcome to The Girl with the Shovel. Today I'm going to talk about rubber tree plant care. Basically, everything you need to know to keep your rubber tree alive and looking great. So today I have my burgundy rubber tree. This guy is one of the three main different types of rubber plants that you can find around. The first one is the variegated rubber tree. The Taneki is probably the most popular one you can find. Then we also have the normal green rubber tree with just the normal green leaves. And then this wonderful guy here is the burgundy. It's almost like a black leaf, almost. Here's my black pot here. You can see it's almost a black leaf here. And I'll tell you how to get it a little more black. Anyways, we'll get on to that. First up is light requirements. So rubber trees like to be in bright, indirect sunlight. They can actually even tolerate some direct sunlight in the mornings and the evenings. Some of your bit cooler direct sunlight, if that makes sense. Don't put it in the hot, direct afternoon light, but it definitely would love some direct morning and direct evening light. I know a lot of people have these in their south-facing windows. That just shows you kind of how tolerant this guy is of a bit more sunlight. Okay, and then when you think about the light requirements for your rubber tree, you also need to think about what kind of a rubber tree do you have. Okay, so the variegated rubber trees, they actually like more light to keep that the coloring on the leaves there. If you don't have enough light, it will actually start reverting back and losing a lot of that coloring on those leaves. So if you have the variegated, like the Taneki, definitely give it a little bit more light, or else you might risk it kind of losing that coloring. The next one is the green or the burgundy rubber trees. They can actually tolerate a little bit less light, but you won't see as much growth. Also the variegated one, if you have it in lower light, it won't grow as quickly. So if you want a lot of growth, then definitely put it in a lot more light. But if you're okay with it just kind of not growing very much, just being kind of a sitting there not doing anything plant, we all have those, then you can put it in some lower light and it will be okay. Just watch your watering, which we will touch next. But before we touch watering, I did want to say this burgundy here, so they do have the darker leaves. And the darker leaves actually come from lower light. So if I was to put this guy in a very bright location, then it will actually start turning a little bit more green. So I purposefully have this rubber tree in a lower light spot so that it will stay a lot darker, because that's why I bought it. I bought it because I wanted that dark leaf. So that being said, you definitely need to kind of play with that. I won't get as much growth, and yes, I do have some growing tips here, and you won't have as much growth, but you will have that darker leaf. Next is watering requirements. To water your rubber tree, you definitely need to err on the side of underwatering. Okay, a lot of the plant problems that come up with this guy is because of overwatering or not letting it dry out enough. Okay, this one really likes to be dried out, have the soil fully dry, not like pulling away from the sides of the pot dry. I mean, that's like desert dry. But still, you need to make sure that the moisture is kind of gone from that root ball before you water it again. It really likes a bit more of that oxygen in the soil. So when you have a soil moisture meter, if you're using one of those, which I definitely recommend because they can help you see deep down in the soil how much water is still in the pot. Maybe you just have a lot of moisture in the bottom of the pot still. The soil moisture meter will pick up on that, and it will actually be able to tell you if your soil is still moist in that moist range, or if it's into that dry range. You definitely want to let this guy into that dry range before you water it again. So if you ever have issues, you aren't sure, definitely pick up a soil moisture meter and it will really help you. This brings us to the soil. Soil is a bit more important for this plant, mainly because of the watering requirements. Because it likes to dry out in between watering, you'll definitely want to get a lighter soil. Okay, so this means a cactus and succulent soil, or a regular potting soil, like an indoor plant potting soil, not a regular garden potting soil. Like an indoor plant potting soil mixed with some perlite, or I like to create my own. I use a bit of peat, some perlite, and some compost all mixed in. But this guy really likes a bit more airiness to the soil. So more of that cactus and succulent mix, or more of that perlite, just something light and airy so that the water can drain all the way through and exit the pot so it doesn't hold on to too much. Now, the parts of the soil that hold on to more moisture is like the coconut coir and the peat moss, which are good to get those organic compounds in the soil, but you just have to make sure that it isn't holding on to the moisture too much. You want to have it light enough so you're watering your plant at least once a week. If it's still wet past that, you probably want to have a lighter soil or maybe a pot with better drainage holes. And then for fertilizer, the last thing is if your plant is not growing very much and it's in a lot of light, you don't have it in that dark corner, you're giving it lots of light, but it still isn't growing very fast, one thing you can do is give it some fertilizer shots. Not fertilizer shots. You know, some shots of fertilizer, right? But that sounds bad. Anyways, they will really enjoy it. Make sure that it is not in the dormant period, so like in that winter time when temperatures are low. If it's spring or summer, you can give it a good fertilizer. I would recommend a normal indoor plant fertilizer. Just follow the directions on the label because every fertilizer has different strengths. Some are stronger than others. So I can't say just fertilize it once a week or every other week. It depends on your fertilizer, what type you get, and how strong it is. So give it some fertilizer if you want some more growth. Just follow the instructions on your package. And then the last thing that I've noticed a lot of times happens with your rubber tree is that they will get dust accumulating on their leaves. So we don't have like the wind and rain to clean them off, which, I mean, you could bring it outdoors in, nice weather, keep it out of the direct sunlight and, have some wind or some rain kind of clean the leaves. But you can also get leaf shine. I usually use the leaf shine from Miracle Grow. It's just easy to find around like your local hardware stores. Any indoor plant store should have some leaf shine. And you just get it on a damp cloth and just wipe that dirt off of the leaves. And I've noticed the rubber tree really looks amazing after you give it a nice little polish with that. And that is how you get your plants looking like Instagram worthy, right? Is you just get a little leaf shine. It's like, man, my plants are looking good. They're looking good. So if you want a little pick-me-up, get some leaf shine, just clean those leaves, as well as it's good to do every now and again because that dust will actually get in the way of the photosynthesis of the plant because they need that light to get into the leaves. And if it's dirt is in the way. Anyways, long story short, leaf shine is good for your plants. That is it for my rubber tree plant care video. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe so you can see more videos, especially the next one. I'm going to be making a video about rubber tree troubleshooting. So what is going on with your plants, like dropping leaves, I know is a huge one with rubber tree. Brown spots, brown leaves, things like that. I'm going to be going over that and kind of what those causes will be. So make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. The next video for rubber tree troubleshooting. And then if you have any more questions, you can go on over to my website, thegirlwiththeshovel.com, and you can check out my blog post there about rubber tree plant care and get more tips and tricks. I like to keep that well updated. And then if you have any more specific questions, head on over to the Facebook group, Houseplants for Plant Killers, and put up a couple pictures and we can help you out there. Have a great one, and I will see you in the next video.